Hey everyone, Brandon Palaniuk here, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown of fishing a swim bait jig head. Kind of what makes that technique work, where I like to fish it, and kind of some of the heads and baits that I like to use when going after that. There can be a lot to it, and I understand that when you just get out there and you try looking things up, it can be a daunting task, right? Which jig head, which bait, how do I know which ones to use together? So I'm just gonna give you a good baseline, and then that will give you the understanding of what I look for, how I match those things up, and then you can expand from there and kind of go out there on your own. But I'm gonna give you the tools to go out there and be able to do that. The biggest thing is selecting your jig head. Swim bait jig head is simply just going to be a hook. Really, anytime we have a jig head, you just have a hook with either lead or tungsten molded on to that head. Now typically your swim bait jig heads a lot of times will have eyes molded into them like this, and they may have a little bit different head style or bait keeper style. Our bait keeper is going to be what holds our bait on the back. You've got your line tie coming out the front, and they come in various shapes and sizes. This is a VMC hybrid jig head. It's just kind of a round ball style jig head. That's the most universal style. It allows that bait a lot of movement. Your weight is dispersed evenly, so you've got a lot of kind of tail action. It still gives it a little bit of roll, but not too much, right? It's not too aggressive or anything crazy. The biggest thing is that selecting your jig head, the hook size and the weight, so that it matches up evenly with your bait, right? I don't want this hook taking up all the way down into the tail, because that's going to kill the action of this bait, right? We still want movement in this tail. And then the same goes for if I took this jig head and I put it in this great big 5.5 inch mega swammer, I'm not getting enough bite. Those fish can come up and not quite get that hook. So we want to pair those up. I'm going to take this little 3/8 ounce hybrid jig head and pair it up with a 4-inch X-Zone mega swammer. Seems like kind of that size works together really well. The big key is making sure these are straight. So I will line up, kind of push that head up against where the bait is going to go. I'll line up, kind of eyeball, and you can even take the hook point, make a little mark in the back so you can see where you want to come out with that bait. And then we're just going to run this right through the front center, and I'm going to run that straight down, not only straight through the belly and the back, but also straight through this direction, right? We want to make sure we're right in the center of that bait. We're going to go all the way down to where we marked our little spot. Now with this one, we can't just push it up on the bait, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to just come in here and you're going to rotate, and you're going to, as you rotate around on that spring, kind of push that tail around the hook and just keep rotating that bait up on there. And I like to get it up there real nice and snug up on there. Now you see how this has a little bit of a bow in that bait? What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that bait on both sides of the hook shank, and I'm going to just pull it down a little bit so it tears that bait just slightly, so that it's nice and straight, because I went just a little too far up on there with that screw lock. But now you're going to have plenty of movement in that tail, and you're able to land a ton of fish on that bait. Now the other style, this is a boxer jig head, but it's still a swim bait jig head. And you notice it's very narrow toward the front. The weight is very low and almost kind of back a little bit toward where it meets up against the bait. What that's going to do is it's going to cause a lot of roll in this bait, because our weight is down lower. So it kind of creates like this pendulum effect of the bait as it's swimming through. So you get that tail kick, and then you get a lot more roll in that bait. Now one little trick, a little pro trick I like to do here is I've got this flat back here and this bait. What I like to do is I'll kind of look where that bait is going to match up perfectly with that jig head, and then I'll just take a pair of scissors and I'll actually cut the front end of that bait, throw that in the trash down there, and then we're going to do the same thing and run this jig head right through the center, all the way down, straight out the back, and then we're gonna just push that bait right up on that jig head, and now you can see it matches up nice and flush. We don't have a big gap there. That's what I like to see. You're gonna have plenty of bait back here, but the hook is back far enough that that bait is gonna get inside the fish's mouth. The hook point's gonna get in their mouth. Now, where do we fish these? How do we fish these? I like to fish them really along any type of edge or a place where those fish can ambush. So that could be the edge of a dock, that could be standing timber, it could be a long point, a grass line, some sort of edge that those fish have a place to ambush, right? They want to sit in around the cover and come out and eat the bait fish that are swimming by, which is essentially what our swim bait is mimicking. And I'm going to cast this out there, and I'm just going to slowly reel it along, right? At whatever depth I want that to be at. Sometimes it's on the bottom, sometimes it may be right on the surface. You be the judge of that. Let the fish tell you, because day in and day out it may change. And then to do that, we want to select our jig head to the appropriate depth, right? So the deeper we want that bait to be, the heavier we need to go on our jig head. The shallower, the lighter we're going to be. So those match up in parallel. Keep that in mind. That's going to be very important when you're out there trying to select. I know it seems like a lot. It's not that too much when you get used to it. And then make sure you pair up your line and your rod with those, okay? I'm not going to throw this smaller 1/4 or 3/8 ounce 4-inch bait on a 7.5 foot heavy action rod with 20-pound test. It's just not going to make sense. You want to drop down, maybe throw it on 12-pound test and a 7.5 medium action bait caster, something smaller, or even a spinning rod. But then the same holds true with this bigger swim bait. I don't want to throw it on a light rod and not be able to have enough power to drive that bigger hook. So you want to step up, heavier fluorocarbon line, heavier rod, bigger reel, to allow you to get the best performance out of those baits. Hope that helps you figure out which jig heads, how to pair them up with the right baits. Just keep in mind, you want that hook and that head to all line up nice and even with that bait, and make sure that hook shank is back there far enough in the bait, but not too far back where it kills your bait. Hope that helps you guys out. If you want more info and more details, make sure you guys check it out on MidwayUSA.com.